Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Kroq-Walker welcomes you to the jungle. We're going to be taking the Lizardmen today up against the Dark Elves, so let's go ahead and get to the army composition. Kroq-Walker here, of course. Kroq-Walker on foot, going to be leading the way. No Hand of the Gods in this one, but we do have Deadly Onslaught, Swiftness of Itzel, and the Sacred Spawning of Zodal as well. In terms of infantry composition, we've got a quite wide infantry line with lots of Saurus warriors with shields, flanked by a skink cohort. We've got 2 MLG skink javelins and 1 temple guard to act as Kroq-Walker's bodyguard. We've got some Cold One spear riders, 2 of them bringing up the rear, and out front we've got some skink skirmishers with a skink chief to be their leader. We've also got Gary, the reliable revivification crystal, and my caster is going to be a skink priest, Lore of Heavens. We've got Harmonic Convergence, Wind Blast, and Curse of the Midnight Wind. So if we take a look at the Dark Elf army here, Crone, Hellebron up on a Manticore, going to be leading the way. Hellebron on the Manticore is actually quite strong. I haven't seen her in the skies too much, but she has 81 charge bonus, not a whole lot of armor, but still very high attack, great AP anti-infantry damage, and of course her other abilities as well. It doesn't look like she's brought, she did actually bring the Cursed Blade here, Heroic Killing Blow, and Gaze of Cain, but actually cut the other item for the magic resistance. In terms of the infantry composition, we've got a mix of Blackguard with Dread Spears, definitely expecting Dino Mash, looks like. Got some Dark Shards and a Charybdis. So I haven't found the Charybdis to be wildly cost effective due to the fact that it has relatively low armor and it's quite expensive, but we'll see how it does here. Definitely looks disgusting. And bringing up the rear, we've got the Slaanesha's Harvesters, a Regiment of Renown, Doomfire Warlocks. Looks like a Sorceress Lore of Beasts for the Dark Elves. Let's go ahead and get the battle rolling. We'll kind of watch as things get underway here. So first things first, we're going to get a little bit of a skirmish phase underway. My skink skirmishers, these are not the chameleon skinks, so they don't have the missile resistance or the stock, but they are cheaper as a result, so they'll definitely take some damage from that missile fire there. I haven't actually dropped any unit models yet, but some solid HP damage coming down. We're trying to get in and shoot at Crone Hellebron because, of course, with only 45 armor and just a little bit of missile resistance, she will take quite a bit of damage in this situation here. 15% missile resistance, so not a whole lot of mitigation from the blowpipes there. So yeah, we're just kind of squaring off, kind of neither one of us really willing to advance, but if anyone's going to advance across this bog here, it probably should be me, because skinks, of course, have an advantage in the aquatic situation. Saurus don't, but I mean, of course, the Dark Elf infantry won't either, so it will be a wash in that aspect. But yeah, Crone Hellebron kind of flying way over out here on the side. We are able to get a few effective shots on her there, doing maybe 5% of her HP or so. Of course, Hellebron, very expensive, high-value target, so any damage that we can get on her with these cheap skink skirmishers is going to be very beneficial. So yeah, I decide in just a moment I'm going to go ahead and push up across here. You can see me now issuing the order to get my forces moving up. So meanwhile, Crone Hellebron taking some more effective fire here. We're doing a little bit of HP damage, and again, every little bit that we can do over time is going to be helpful. And my other idea as well is that we can kind of get a flanking force in here and maybe shoot in from the side, because my opponent's infantry line is relatively narrow, and we should be able to occupy the majority of it with the Saurus warriors. So we'll soak up some cinematic action as the Saurus advance across the swamp here. We've got the Charybdis over on the other side, the Blackguard of Nagron moving into position. You can see my skinks scurrying back way out of range of those Dark Shards there. And yeah, these skinks out on the flank going to be tossed into the Dread Spears. They'll do relatively well in this combat. And we're going to get the 2 skink cohort with javelins, the MLG skinks as I like to call them. We're going to have them start tossing their javelins into the Charybdis. And we're going to do a really nice amount of damage for how cheap these units are. Just watch the missile fire come in here, and we're doing about, so far, 10% and rising of the HP damage, just with these 2 very cheap javelin units who, you know, can also come in melee. My opponent did summon up a Manticore. Looks like it's fighting in this pocket. Crone Hellebron just kind of trolling around looking for a home. We've got Curse the Midnight Wind going down here. We've also got Harmonic Convergence on those Saurus warriors. So their stats are juiced up while the Blackguard stats are a little bit dumpstered. They're only 70 armor, so the Saurus will be able to do more damage there. Yeah, you can see the javelins getting some really effective fire here at the Charybdis. We're definitely doing some good damage there so far. Unfortunately, this advance was kind of stopped up up a little bit by that Manticore, but we should be able to spring loose soon. Meanwhile, Saurus Warriors taking these Dread Spears to task. Obviously, Dread Spears definitely can't stand up to that, and a really nice Wind Blast just cutting up those Dark Shards there. Meanwhile, over on the side, we're kiting out some of these Dread Spears here with my Skink Skirmishers, trying to pull them away from the main course of the battle. But one of my units of Cold One Spear Riders did manage to get in on these Slaanesha's Harvesters here. When my opponent didn't get the charge off, looks like he is reacting a little bit late here, trying to use that Word of Pain to bring things back, but I should be able to swing that fight in my favor. Very cost effective. You can see a Soul Stealer going down. We've got the Revivification Crystal on the Temple Guard just to make sure. You can see Hellebron trying to go after that Skink Priest. That's a very dangerous situation because Kroq-Walker and his Temple Guard buddies are here. You've also got Gary on station to provide a little bit of mass. You can see the red mist effect going down on the front line. Probably wanted to use that a little bit sooner. You typically want to keep that on cooldown as much as possible, but we've also got another Curse of the Midnight Wind helping to mitigate some of the effects of that and also tear away the armor of a lot of the units in this pocket. You can see the Charybdis has enraged and has come back in the fight. Very low on HP though. Hellebron comes down and is going to try and escape here, but Gary providing some very nice blocking. Classic, football block, American football style block there. Going to keep Crone Hellebron on the ground and keep her within striking distance of Kroq-Walker here. You can see is kind of underneath the wing, but just a few hits and Crone Hellebron is already very, very low. So, oh man, just bouncing skinks off her. But Gary's coming through, just being the battering ram that he is, and Kroq-Walker and the Temple Guard actually going to finish off the Crone. So with the Crone going down, the Dark Elves are immediately going to start suffering leadership issues. Thankfully, Murderous Prowess just popped off at the last minute there, but that's going to hold the Dark Elves together for a little bit, but not going to be enough over time. You can see this Feral Manticore going after the Cold One Spear Riders, trying to save those Slaanesha's Harvesters, but probably a bit late at this point. You can see at this point the Black Guard are just going to get ground down by superior numbers. Despite the fact that they're objectively better infantry, there's just way too many Saurus, Skinks, and Temple Guard just in here cutting them down from every side. Gary pushing through on the back line. There's still quite a few Dark Shards online, which is potentially dangerous, but Gary going to get back here and tell him what he thinks of their unchivalrous missile attacks. And Saurus Warriors also pushing through as well. I hear a Harmonic Convergence going off, looks like on those Saurus Warriors there, just trying to finish off those Black Guard. The Sorceress is also going to start taking some effective damage here as well, although applying that rear charge penalty to the Skinks, definitely a decent play there. But at this point, it's just a matter of time. We're zoning out here with the Skinks in the back line, getting some nice effective fire here in on these Dark Shards, and at this point, yeah, it's pretty much GG. So well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I don't get to play the Lizardmen too often, but definitely a good time when I do. Looking forward to them getting their regiments of renown and new legendary lords and all that jazz. They're the only Game 2 faction with only 2 legendary lords, so hopefully they'll get one with the new faction pack, or at least with their own DLC. But anyway, fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. In terms of the army breakdown here, Gary getting some effective work done against Crone Hellebron, helping Kroq-Walker and the Temple Guards deal with her. Quite effective. In the front line, Saurus Warriors did well, especially when supported by the Skink Priest with the Lore of Heavens. I really like Lore of Heavens against heavier armor factions and light armor factions. If they can bring a mix of both like the Dark Elves can, you can bring tools to sunder armor, and you also have the Wind Blast to deal damage to low armor infantry. The Harmonic Convergence is also useful in a multitude of situations. I definitely like that spell quite a bit, and overall Heavens is a very strong lore magic right now. And yeah, beyond that, these Cold One Spear Riders got 2 XP chevrons for saying off those Slaanesha's Harvesters. Some really nice value there for my opponent. The Charybdis, it looks nice on paper in this matchup. If you do bring the Charybdis, you probably don't need to bring the Black Guard of Nagrond. Maybe bringing Executioners instead would be a bit better, or even Sisters of Slaughter. I think Sisters of Slaughter match up very well against Saurus Warriors, and I would have to test them against Temple Guard, but I'd imagine they'd even match up relatively well there as well. But yeah, overall, I think if you do have the anti-large AP of the Charybdis, you probably don't need the Black Guard of Nagrond. He had the Dark Shards as well to deal with dinos, so probably a little bit of an overinvestment there. But overall, very fun battle in the end. In terms of what I would do as the Dark Elves, there's a multitude of different things you can do, just because the Dark Elves have a really good variety. I would say, yeah, the Slaanesha's Harvester is probably a good pick. Unfortunately, my opponent did get them caught out a little bit there, but the Charybdis looks nice on paper. I honestly would probably cut it and go with a more traditional build with maybe some, what are they called? The Cold One Knights. They're pretty good in this matchup with their anti-large AP. Like I said, Sisters of Slaughter can do well. Hargoneth Executioners are pretty good against Saurus as well. You know, there's definitely a lot of different ways you can go. Bringing a Flying Lord is also a particular risk because the Lizardmen, of course, can bring a High Slon, which as soon as this game started, I saw Hellebron up in the air. I was like, oh, I should have brought a High Slon. But anyway, fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.